Siami. Hallelujah. All praises. Natadan Zambi Yamazulu. Hallelujah. Kifumu Kiakukiza. Give all Kim to the Most High. Welcome once again. Benan Zambi. Hallelujah. Nkosi. Ntinu. Hallelujah. All praises to the Most High. We are preparing ourselves and getting ready for another fabulous, awesome teaching and learning about the migration and of our people, our ancestors. And so we have our sister, Nkosi Tabitha, and we are always honored to have her with us. We've been enjoying everything that she has been sharing with us. And I'm not gonna speak anymore. I'm not gonna say anymore. I'm gonna hand it over to my wife, Mama Brenda, and I will let her present to you our teacher for the day. Hallelujah.
Siami, and both day and B2. We're in for another treat. It is another historical, I guess you could say, teaching about our land that was given to us, the true biblical land that many people are not aware of. So she's going to come and bring more information on there. Tabitha, what is it again? Remind me of this, what this one is today. I can't remember. We talked about so much this morning.
Greetings, family. Are you asking about our topic for today?
Yes.
Okay. I wanted to talk on Ameru people migration, but I feel the Mwanda Semi just wants us to finish first of all with the trade part of it, and then we will come to that later on. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
Okay. So the Spirit of the Most High just guided me and said it's better we go to the trade first, because these people came like traders. Then after that, so many things happened. So we will start with the trade, and we will look at a few things. The migration story of the other Bantu, we will do it next time. The Most High willing.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Before you get started, I was trying to find this book that I found on my computer. I want to read something to you all, since we're talking about history, and that the things that our sister found out to dispel what have been told to the lies that have been told to the world over. And I just want to show you something here. And the name of the book is called Skin Deep, Dispelling the Science of Race. And I want to show you what has been done. So it's going to be some reading here, so bear with me. Let me find, it's on my phone and it's small, so I was trying to pull it up on my computer. Let me see where to start. It says, Great Zimbabwe is a 722-hectare royal palace whose construction began about 1,000 years ago. And the guy that wrote this book is Ashkenazi Jewish. Today, it remains the most impressive of 200 Iron Age fortified structures around Southern Africa. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay, great. When I first visited with my family in 1973, the grandeur of its huge stone walls, conical towers, and giant soapstone birds gave an instant impression of a powerful kingdom from the distant past. This is talking about in Zimbabwe. I remember asking the Rhodesian guys who had built it, who built this great wall. Who built it, and being told it was probably the work of Arabs. It later emerged that Rhodesian, listen to this very carefully, family. It later emerged that Rhodesian bureaucrats had ordered the archaeologists to say it was the work of non-Africans. So they told them to tell people in the guides when they were going around touring, looking at this great structure that was built by our ancestors, to say that it was non-African, that it was not the Bantus, say that it was probably the Arabs, to show you how they lied about history. And that is what she's doing today. So I just want to show you all out of their own mouths, how they have twisted history, how they have lied to the world over, and how all of these lies are coming out now, facing everybody, the world. And you have to make a determination whether you're going to continue to believe a lie or the truth that's facing you head on, because we've been lied to. And scripture said, they will say that they have inherited lies from their fathers. Guess what? We all have inherited lies. They passed it down and beat things out of our ancestors and made us believe one thing and another. And now we are psychologically damaged. We're arguing with each other about things that are in the scripture right in front of our face. And because of the damage psychologically, because that stuff is in your DNA, because you are your ancestors and your ancestors are you, because that's what DNA is. That's science, people. And it's been passed down. It said the state boulderized guidebooks, museum displays, school textbooks, and other media to maintain this myth, not a myth, a lie, a flat out lie. So in other words, they changed the guidebooks, the museum displays, school textbooks, and other media just to continuing to perpetuate this lie that was told. The site's chief archaeologist was instructed that it was okay to say that it was yellow people that built it. What yellow people? I wasn't allowed to mention radiocarbon dates. He said this was the first time since Germany in the 30s that archaeology has been so directly censored. While the rewriting of the archaeological record was astonishing, the mythology was nothing new. J. Theodore Bent, an English archaeologist patronized by Cecil Rhodes. Those in South Africa know about this evil, diabolical man by the name of Cecil Rhodes, who said that he wanted to be buried over there with the kings. And he's over there where the kings are in the royal, the place where the royals are buried, where they go and pay honor as they were told to do in the book to their ancestors. He said, I want to be buried there with them. Check it out to show you how evil these people are, how diabolical they are. After discovering the ruins in 1891 that they were too sophisticated to be the works of Africans, he surmised that a civilized nation must once have lived there and presented his conclusion. I do not think that I am far wrong if I suppose that the ruin on the hill is a copy of Solomon's temple on Mount Moriah, and the building in the plain a copy of the palace where the Queen of Sheba lived during her visit to Solomon. The bizarre speculation became the favorite explanation in white Rhodesia, with Arabic, Semitic, Eastern, and Hamitic versions presented as alternatives. Anyone would do as long as they weren't sub-Saharan Africans. The problem was that this is out of their own mouth, y'all. The problem was that by the 1950s, Rhodesia's archaeologists knew full well that it was indeed the work of sub-Saharan Africans, constructed from the 11th century onwards by the ancestors of the Shona people, serving as a seat of power for monarchs who ruled a late Iron Age kingdom. But they taught us over here in America that they found an uncivilized group of people swinging by the trees, unclothed, unlearned. But their record says otherwise. See how they've lied? See how they twisted history? What else have they lied about? It will be exposed. This is the hour of exposure. The white, and this is not hated, but what is hated is a lie. The Most High said he hate lying. 7 things doeth I hate. Lying is one of them. Deceit. That is the work of the devil. That is the work of the adversary. The white rulers had a problem. How could this be explained? That 850 years before Rhodes, 850 years before they came, Rhodes, Black Africans built a city walls, built a city with walls 200 meters long, 11 meters high, and 6 meters thick. A city of densely packed housing units and 9-meter high towers. How could they omit that soapstone sculptures, iron tools, copper wire, the bronze spearheads and copper ingots, the crucibles and coins, the glass, the gold beads, the ivory ornaments were products of an African society that traded up and down the Swahili coast, part of a network that extended all the way to China. So we were doing this way before they even reached the coast of Africa. Before the Europeans came, our people were going up and down, trading all over, even in the Americas. Before they set foot out of, let me calm myself down. Before they stepped out of the place where they were living at. And it wasn't the houses like we were living in. And that's all I'm gonna say on that. Y'all can see I'm upset. All the way to China, India, and the Middle East, what they call the Middle East. When Iron Smith's government insisted on its right to rule, to deny the vote to more than 95% of the population, talking about our people down in South Africa, how they were not allowing them to vote down there like they did us in America. South Africa, I'm learning, is like a mirror to us over here. Jonathan said that as well before. And in my research, I'm finding it's like things that happen to us, same thing as far as political and everything. I don't know what it is. I don't know. Acknowledge that the ancestors of the 95% had extracted 10 million ounces of gold from around the ruins. Early Portuguese traders wrote of it surrounding by gold mines. So they wrote about all this, about our ancestors and the gold that they were extracting. Or engaged in cattle trading, And Tabitha mentioned it. She was saying how Wall Street, they got that stock exchange from us, from the cows, from trading. That's what it is talking about, cattle trading, stock exchanging stock for other goods. Everything they got from us, everything. They are who they are because of us. They are riding on our backs and the backs of our ancestors. The riches that they have, the gold, the silver, the diamonds, it belongs to Mama Africa. It does not belong to you. You have no wealth. That's why you came into Africa, because of the tales that they were hearing about the wealth in Africa, in this unknown land, and they went searching for it, and they found it. As they say, they came, they saw, and they stole. It might have been even harder to explain to white voters raised on colonial mythology that the area was settled by the ancestors of the Shona in the 4th century CE, 1500 years before Rhodes cast his imperial eye on its mineral riches, and that soon after their arrival, these people were farming the area and mining its iron, let alone the fact that by 1300 CE, around 18,000 inhabitants lived within the city walls, and its kings ruled over a huge empire, talking about our people, the Bantu people over there, stretching from the Zambezi to the Limpopo for more than 200 years. The coastal cities of this trading kingdom did brisk business. Listen to this. They did brisk business with the seafaring Europeans. So yes, they were there in sub-Saharan Africa, because I know some of our people said, oh, that can't be the promised land, because the Romans and the Greeks weren't there. They hide it from you all. Come on, family. They hide it, this information. Why is it that they know everything about the continent of Africa? You can research, but hardly find anything by sub-Saharan Africa and the Bantu people. Ask yourself that question. It's a reason. The coastal cities, and I'm almost finished, and mind you, this book This guy is Ashkenazi Jew that's writing this. The coastal cities of this trading kingdom did brisk business with the seafaring European and Arab cities and kingdoms, starting with ancient Greece. So they were trading with Europeans, ancient Greece, the Arabs, and ending with colonial Portugal. It began 2,600 years ago when Africans used fast light dhows for coastal trade. Later, when the gold trade took off, it expanded into the Arabian Peninsula in Asia. The Greco-Roman epic Periplus of the Erythraean Sea, and this book keep coming up, and I pulled it up and I started reading it. It has a lot of information. Tabitha, it tells you in here about what you found about Rapta, and how that was Tanzania, Azania. It's in this book. It's in here. And I know you said you was going to talk about that, but this book solidifies what you're going to say. And this is an old book, very ancient book, written in about 60 CE, makes extensive reference to the trade on the coast of Africa and Ethiopia. The author writes about the last port. She talked about the ports over there in sub-Saharan, what they call sub-Saharan Africa, and why they came in to take over our ports and our trade. The author writes about the last port of trade on the coast of Azania called Rafta, a name derived from the sewn boats where there are great quantities of ivory and tortoise shell. He adds that the Indian and Arabian traders came to buy these products, including rhinoceros horn, in exchange for glass, spears, and daggers. So our ancestors was trading with these people. These descriptions led experts to place Rafta in Tanzania. It's in your hands now, sister. You're on mute.
All right, greetings, Banabetu. It's another time. I'm so grateful, I'm so humble to be with you this evening, this morning, this afternoon, depending on where you are. And we're going to share this teaching. I'm not a historian, I'm not a preacher. I didn't go to theological school. So we're learning together. I'm not going to tell you it's this. No, we're learning together. I'm sharing this so that you can teach me more. You see, when we talk, at times when we share, you get more revelation and you can even give us more information. And I thank all the sisters and the brothers. Now I have a new vocabulary, sisterin. I thank the brethren and the sisterin. So that is the new English. So the brothers and the sisters, the brethren and the sisterin. Thank you very much for listening. And I went through the comments, and a brother or a sister could be from Kenya shared about the structures that my ancestors built. They didn't build it alone. They were with the other tribes while migrating. So they shared about the houses we built of stones without mortar. And so these are the kind of historical facts that have been hidden from us. I was told by my ancestors that we built stone walls to avoid the invaders from attacking us, especially the Nilotic tribes and the other Cushitic tribes we found in the land while we migrated. But I didn't know about the stone walls and the houses existing. I just thought they were destroyed and that was it. So when my Maragoli sister, or could be a brother, shared this, I was really grateful. And I want to thank you all for everything you're doing, and may the Most High increase you, expand your knowledge, give you wisdom and guidance. So we will go back straight to the point. The Most High told me through the Mwandansemi that we're going to reconnect our story by finding the trade routes, right? Trade routes. So I will start with a short introduction. Yaya Mazambi
Yes,
will
ma'am.
read for us, yes, Joel 3, 2 to 12. Joel 3, 2 to 12. We want to know, is this our land or it's another land? Then we can start from there. Because there are people who are new and maybe we are moving faster and we are leaving them behind with some questions. So you want to make an introduction so that in the future episodes, they will understand where we're coming from, and it's not good to leave others behind. All right.
Okay. You said that's John 3, 2.
No. Sorry. Joel.
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 I'm sorry.
My pronunciation. This is African English. This.
Oh,
Like this.
Joel 3. Got
Yes.
it. 2 through 12.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Isolele, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. And they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for wine, that they might drink. Yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coasts of Palestine? Will ye render me a recompense? And if ye recompense me, swiftly and speedily will I return your recompense upon your own head. Because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into your temples my godly or goodly pleasant things. The children also of Yaoundé and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians, that ye might remove them far from their border. Behold, I will raise them out of the place whither ye have sold them, and will return your recompense upon your own head.
Yes.
And I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Yaoundé, and they shall sell them to the Sabians, to a people far off, for Nzambi hath spoken it. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war, wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause my mighty ones to come down, O Nzambi. Let the heathen be weakened and come up to the valley. Let the heathen be wakened, and they're going to be weak anyway, and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat. For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. In Geta.
Thank you very much. I don't want to interrupt you once again. Genesis, you can read Genesis 2:8.
Genesis, 2nd chapter, verse 8.
Yes.
And Nzambi planted a garden eastward in Eden, and there he put the man whom he had formed.
Continue, sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
Continue. Yeah, continue.
And out of the ground made Nzambi to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food. The tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And a river went out of Eden to water the garden, and from thence it was parted and became into 4 heads. The name of the first is Pishon. That is it which compasseth the whole land of Havilah, where there is gold. And the gold of that land is good. There is bdellium and the onyx stone. And the name of the second river is Gihon. The same is it that compasseth the whole land of Ethiopia. And the name of the third river is Hiddekel. That is it which goeth toward the east of Assyria. And the fourth river is Euphrates. And Nzambi took the man and put him into the Garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. And Nzambi commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil thou shalt not eat of it. For in the day that thou eatest thereof, thou shalt surely die.
All right, all right. Go to Genesis 25:6.
Genesis 25
6.
and verse 6. But unto the sons of the concubines which Abraham Abana had, Abana gave gifts and sent them away from Isaac, his son, while ye yet lived eastward unto the east country. And these are the days of the years of Abana's life which he lived, 163 years. Then Abana.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I didn't want to tell you read again and again. So that is a good summary. So in Joel chapter 3, verse 2 to 12, they have parted my land. So now you know your land was parted. And you can tell which land was parted. That one is just self-explanatory, right? Because we said if we are in the awakening, we will use common sense, we will use our brain, all right? We will check the lies. We will look at things practically, in a practical sense. Because if you tell me these are the Grecians, these are the Midianites, these are the Ishmaelites, these are the Phoenicians, these are the Canaanites, they didn't disappear. I want proof, all right? So this is the proof we are going to get, or we're going to look at, because we know very well that the nations aren't going to tell us the truth. Remember, all these people mentioned in the scriptures, if they were not to exist until the end of time, they wouldn't have been included in the scriptures. Everybody written in the scriptures is still alive today in this world. They have their children, their grandchildren, and they have a land where they descended from. They didn't disappear. Nobody disappeared from the face of the planet, all right? So these people are here. The Ishmaelites are here. The Midianites are here. We are here. We are not lost, right? So let's go to the point. Joel 3:12, they have parted my land. You know about the scramble and partition of Africa. The scramble and partition of Africa. So that is self-explanatory. Another thing, they talk about the people of Tyre, which is the Sar. They talk about the people of Zidon. They talk about the Grecians, and they talk about the other people. So we know that these people are existing. They didn't disappear from the face of the earth, all right? And we know these are the people who were trading. They came as merchants. So these people must be found in the coasts of Africa. If we, the people whose land was parted, and the Europeans wrote it clearly and said this is the partition and scramble for Africa, and they sat in a table at the Balfour Conference, and they divided the land amongst themselves, like casting lots for a piece of cloth, like what they did to the cloth of the Messiah, casting lots. You take this, who will take this, who will take this part. That is exactly what they did in the Berlin Conference. They said, Belgium, take this, Britain, take this, France, take this, Portugal, take this, Spain, take this, all right? And the proof is there in the continent. You go to Angola and Mozambique, people are speaking Portuguese. You go to the islands in the West Coast, people are speaking Spanish. You come to the other places, people are speaking British, English, what we call English, people are speaking French, you see? So there is evidence that these people had colonized us. They cannot refute about that. They cannot argue concerning that. It's evidence, the evidence is there. And so when the scripture tells us about the partition of the land, we have to understand that the same land that has been parted must have been visited by the people from Tyre, the Zidonians, and the Grecians. It is the same land within the context. We're reading within the context. So there are people who will part the land, and there are people who are selling our children for concubines. That one happened in the Indian Ocean trade, human trafficking trade. Some women were taken to be concubines, while others were taken to be shipbuilders. Others were taken to teach them about being merchants. So many things happened before the actual enslavement began. So now we know that people of Tyre are on our coastline. Remember, in ancient times, people built cities near water sources. There were no aircrafts. There were no other forms of transport. Probably even the wheel and the other things came later. But people might have learned how to sail, how to use the rivers and the kind of thing. So that is why I argue with my brothers who say that Babylon is here and something is here. Remember, the ancient people built their civilizations near rivers. The trade ports and all the other things happened on the coastlines. So when you want to find out the truth of what happened before enslavement or colonization, what happened in the ancient past, just go to the Nile River, look at the remnants of what was there in the ancient times. You'll find pyramids, you will find statues of the Babylonian kings, you'll find even the temple of Nagal. Nagal was a god of the Sumerians. It's there in the Sudan. That's how you know that the Sumerians were there. The Assyrians were there. Now, if you want to know the Grecians and the Romans were here, come to the coastlines. You will get all the history. So the Spirit of the Most High told me, we will get our answers by starting with these merchants on the coastlines. When we will look at Babylon and where is Assyria and the other places, we are going inland as well to look at the rivers, because the ancient people built cities near rivers. To build a civilization, you need water, you need fertile land. As we looked earlier, you need gold, you need resources. You need timber as well for building, right? And you need trade. So that is what happened. If a historian is telling you, oh, there is a civilization, no. Look at the rivers, the ancient rivers, and look at the coastline, whether it is the west coast of Africa or the east coast of Africa. That is the tip I'm giving you. Research on those areas. So now we've seen the people of Tyre, the Sidonians are here, the Grecians, and the people of Tyre and Zidon are merchants, as we looked earlier, and they are helping the Grecians. So it is very possible that the people of Tyre and Zidon are the people selling our people to the Grecians, right? And other people included, we will see that. So the people of Tyre and Zidon are going to have ports and harbors in our coastlines. And remember, in ancient times, people were not that territorial. People used to move from one place to another. And people didn't have those fake boundaries we have today. Like my land is up to here, my land, although they knew about the ancient boundaries, they knew, they were aware, because those days, the Most High divided land using rivers, mountains, up to date. You go to Bantu land or even other lands, they divide land using rivers. Like this clan, from this river to that point. Up to today, we mark tribal lands and clans using rivers, most of the places. Why? Because we never wanted we never wanted incest. So we will mark the boundaries, and we know the people of this clan are on the other side of the river and the other clan on the other side of the river. So when these girls and boys mature and they want to marry, they know these are my brothers and sisters on this other side of the river. I will not marry from this place because that will be incest. So what they do, they cross over. You heard that terminology, they say Iba crossed over. So you cross over the river to the other side and you get a spouse from the other side of the river. So up to there now we know which people we are dealing with, and they have ports and harbors along the coast. And it didn't mean that up to here is for the Sidonians, up to here is up to the people of Tyre, up to here is only Azania. No. People in the ancient times weren't that territorial, especially the Bantus. They are just open like that. You want to do your trade, come and do your trade. They are not that territorial, this is my land and whatever, no. So it's very possible, even a port in the land of Bantus today was a port of the people of Tyre. You see, it's our land, yes. But they come because they are merchants and they occupy that port, and it becomes like a monopoly, and they are the people now ruling on that port because they are the merchants, you see. So when you see these ports and think, oh, this is further south, it can't be the port of the people of Tyre. And no, the people were moving and they were settling all over. As long as you had those ships and you had merchandise to sell, there was no issue. So we will look at that. So we have a basic foundation about the garden. So why did we read Genesis 2? We read Genesis 2 so that we can know where the garden was. So a river came from the garden to water the country of the east. So we want to know where is east so that we can know where is man. Where is man living? As you'll come to find out, scientists and these archaeologists have been telling you things, but they tell you in parables. So you have to be very keen and see what they are telling you. They always tell you the origin of man, and then they tell you they found fossils in East Africa. Normally, they will tell you about Ethiopia, they will tell you about Kenya and Tanzania, most of the time. The same archaeologists will tell you that there is something they are telling you. What they are telling you is this. I will give you a tip. Write, note down, and you'll do your research. What they are telling you is this. This is east of the garden where the people went to stay. After leaving the main garden, the east, this is East Africa. This is Horn of Africa. That's why when they left the garden, he said, now I will take you east, but probably east, there are no much rivers. So what will I do? I'll make sure that there is a river that is coming from the garden that is going to water that land in the east. Because anyways, I love you anyways. You have sinned, but I still love you. So I'll put you east of the garden, but I will make sure I have a river that will water the land because you need food, you know. And he even put plants and all that they needed. All right, so our east is East Africa. That's why the archaeologists and the scientists keep on telling you, maybe we are not paying attention. So from today, we will pay attention. They are telling you, this is where man lived after he left the garden. This is where he lived. Don't listen to stories about the flood, or after the flood, the rivers disappeared. That one leave to them. Let them say whatever they will say. But for you, on this Genesis 2, mark it. East of the garden is East Africa, the Horn of Africa. That's why they are digging and digging and digging. All right? And this is where they say the camel originated from, and the donkey. I don't know if you call donkey or donkey. All right? So we go next. We said mortar is mocha, is mocha. That is east. That's why East Africa and the Horn of Africa is east, is mocha. So on this biblical account, we don't have any other east. We don't have any other east, all right? Now, let's look at this. We said last time, mocha, mosa, mocha, all right? That is east of the garden. I don't know if you can see it. All right. So, mocha, mocha, as we saw in the other teaching, is the land of the east, is the land of incense, is the land where coffee originated from. Coffee originated from the Ethiopian plateau, all right? That's why you have coffee mocha, coffee from the east, all right? So now you know mocha is east of the Garden of Eden. It's not the Garden of Eden, but it's east, it's near the Garden of Eden. This is where man went to live, right? So he was given a river, and that is where he started his civilization. Then later, after coffee was discovered in Ethiopia, it means it's them who discovered, not the people in the land themselves. The people in the land knew about the coffee and the incense and the like. So these new people coming are the people now discovering what they call discovering, right? So later on, the plant was taken and brought to other lands. So we will find out. So I'll show you this. I hope you can see. All right. So coffee later was grown in Yemen. Then later in the 16th century, it was grown in the Arabian Peninsula, all right? And then later it became known in Persia, in Turkey, and in Syria, all right? Afterwards, all right? So this is the land of coffee mocha. This is the land of incense, the land of frankincense, and the land of the rivers, the Fertile Crescent, the Mesopotamia, where man went to live, all right? And he was put there by the Most High, he didn't just go himself. So this is our east. So as we look at history, you should know that this is your east. When you read the scriptures, know that this is your east. The Horn of Africa, East Africa is your east. Don't go to another east, you'll be confused, right? Then we will look at this. So Moses flees to Midian. When he killed the Egyptian, he flees to Midian. And there was a priest in Midian. Remember, the Midianites are the children of Keturah, whom she bore with Father Abraham. So Midianites also guide them during the Exodus. And later on, Midianites joined the Moabites against the children of Sonini, the children of Tatanzandi, all right? That is in Genesis 60 verse 6. All right. So we will see if the Midianites were in the east or wherever they were, right? So we read another chapter. And can you see this? You can see?
Yes, Ishmael, Midian. Yes.
Okay. So Ishmael and Midian go to live in the east country. We just found out where east is. East is what they call the origin of man. We know that the origin of man is the Garden of Eden, right? But later on, not after many centuries or so, he sinned and now he's living in the east of the garden, right? And we found out that when Father Abraham sent these two women away, she asked Keturah, she sent Keturah and her children and Ishmael and Hagar to the land in the east. So that is what? Mocha, Mocha, Moza, East Africa. So where would the Midianites be living? Just next to the Ishmaelites, right? They live in the same region because it's like they went together, all right? But does it mean that the Midianites and the Ishmaelites, after leaving Father Abraham, they will not come back to the land in the south? Remember, after people staying in the garden for a long time, there is the flood and all that happened. And our ancestors also lived in the same region in the Nile Valley, what they call Nile Valley civilization. If you see these professors telling you about Nile Valley civilization, they are simply telling you the country in the east, the country east of the garden. Even Egypt is in the east of Eden, all right? Probably that's why this guy named his child Aden. You know, this Punt, his child was called Aden, but some people pronounce it as Eden. Eden, I don't know, all right? So now we see that the Horn of Africa, the land of incense, the land of the frankincense, the land of the rivers, the fertile crescent at those times, it was very fertile. That is the Nile Valley civilization, east of the Garden of Eden, all right? So we are not going to another east. When you reach Egypt, we reach Somalia, Ethiopia, Djibouti, Eritrea, we come to Kenya, Tanzania. This is our coast, this is the coastline now. You're going to mark those boundaries. You're not going to move to another place, all right? So Midianites and Ishmaelites lived in those lands east of the garden. So we want to have another foundation. Some people will ask this, Dada, you are speaking some things that we don't understand here. Yeah, but with time we will understand, all right? Because this is a revelation from the Mwandansemi. It's not all about me, all right? Now, you will tell me this, sister. No, the Midianites, the Ishmaelites, and the Arabs were not African. They didn't live in Africa. All right. Today, I'm going to explain to you who is an Arab, right? Who is an Arab? What people say Arab, all right? According to the scripture. So you'll find out that the Arabs of today are not the ancient Arabs of the Bible. Mm. So when the scripture says about Arab, you should take your mind to the ancient times. Who did people call Arab? What does Arab mean in the ancient language, all right?
Yes.
Let me use their Aramaic now. They told us they have Aramaic, all right? An Arab is somebody who lives in a desert or a wilderness. So this person can be a nomad or pastoralist. You know, these people who move with thousands of cattle from one region to another, looking for grazing land and pasture and water. So those are nomads. So today in English, we call them nomads, or we call them pastoralists. So they are moving from one place to another. According to their description, that is an Arab, a person who lives either in a desert, in a wilderness, could be they didn't have permanent places to live. So Ezekiel 27:21 talks about Araba or Arabia, right? Arabia and
Mr.
all
Tabitha?
the pieces of, yes.
I'm sorry, I just want them to know who this is. They call him Tippy Tip of the
Tipu,
Omani,
yeah.
Oman Sultanate that basically was over the slave trade of East Africa. He was an Arab. So this is what she's saying. This is what they look like right here. This is the indigenous Arabic people, what they look like. As you can see, what they call a black man.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Yes.
No worries. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right. So Ezekiel 27, verse 21. Arabia and all the princes of Kedar. If you have a pen and a paper, you can write that. Ezekiel 27, verse 21. Ezekiel 27, verse 21. Arabia and all the princes of Kedar, they occupied with thee in lambs and rams and goats. In this were thy merchants. So we traded with these people, and these people were called Araba, and they were princes of Kedar, Kedar. You remember the tents of Kedar? So these people traded with us. We were not just trading only Bantus amongst ourselves. We traded with so many people. As you will find out, we even traded with the Assyrians. We traded with the grandchildren of Cush. We traded with the Midian, so many people, right? So these were our merchants, right? They came to the southern part to sell goods. They were moving from one place to another. So this is why the European scholars, biblical scholars, put Midianites and Ishmaelites together and call them Arabs. But the Araba of the Bible, it can't be an Ishmaelite, it can't be a Midianite. If they are pastoralists, they are moving from one place to another. But remember, they are not only keeping cattle, they are trading as well. They are powerful merchants as well. All right. Ezekiel 27, verse 22. Ezekiel 27, verse 22. We will talk about Sheba and Ramah. They have spices and they have stones. You see, they are Arabas, but they are merchants at the same time. So you want to know where these people really lived. Where the Ishmaelites lived, where the people of Sheba, who are the grandchildren of Cush, lived, there is spices and there are precious stones. So now we know that these people were living in the land of incense and frankincense, because spices were there as well, right? The merchants of Sheba and Ramah, they were thy merchants. We also traded with the grandchildren of Cush. They occupied in their fairs with chief of all spices and with all precious stones and gold. Those are the people we traded with. But we didn't trade in a forest somewhere, no. In the east coast of Africa, they used to come from the east and come down where we had ports. Remember, the tribe of Zebulun, where they live, it's a haven of ships. They have a port It's a haven of sheep. Sheep come there and bring merchandise. The tribe of Zebulun. So they must be living near the sea, and they have good harbors. And these traders from Sheba and Ramah are coming to trade with them. All right. Ezekiel 27:23. Haran and Canaan and Eden or Aden, the merchants of Sheba, Ashur, those are the Assyrians. Can't be the Assyrians, but there are other people called Ashur as well. There are other descendants called by the same name. And Kilmad were the merchants. You see, the people of Haran are here, our relatives in a way. Ezekiel 27:24. These were thy merchants in all sorts of things, blue clothes and embroidered work, and in chests of rich apparel, bound with cords and made of cedar among thy merchandise. Now you see the cedar tree, all right? Cedar or cedar.
Yes.
This is African English now. Ezekiel 27:25. The ships of Tarshish did sing of thee in thy market, and thou wast replenished and made very glorious in the midst of the seas. All right, so we are aware of the ships of Tarshish. Ezekiel 27:27. Thy riches and thy fares, their merchandise, their mariners, and thy pilots. We had merchants, we had people who made the ships, we had people who sailed, right? Thy calkers, thy occupiers of thy merchandise, all thy men of war that are in there, and all the company which is in thy midst. So you can see that either some of these scriptures may be talking about us, or they are including us and the people of Tyre or something of the sort. Because the people of Tyre also built ships and harbors in our place as well. They didn't say this is our boundary. They were all over. From the Eritrea, Red Sea, till the Cape of South Africa, they were there. Remember in old maps, they did like this, and they said, they divided Africa into two, and they said, this is Ethiopia. They were telling you something, but we didn't notice then. You know what they were telling you? All this territory, the merchants, the people we found here are from Kush, and those people were living in the Horn of Africa, because the people of Sheba there, the people of Ramah are trading there. And so they knew, oh, these are Kushites. Okay, this is Ethiopia, because of the merchants, although that it was not their home, but they used to come. Remember, Joseph, after being thrown in a pit by his brothers, is taken from the pit by a Midianite. Where was the Midianite coming from? They were just roaming around, you know, selling their goods, and then they find a boy in the hole, they pick him up, and then they say, oh, we have cousins, you know, these Ishmaelites. They can sell this boy at a good bid, at a good price. Yeah? So they take him, they hand him over to the Ishmaelites. The Ishmaelites lived near Egypt. Don't forget that. Because the mother of the Ishmaelites was an Egyptian. So when your husband leaves you, what do you do? When he kicks you out of the house, you go back to your home, right? You go back to your home. You know, these are ancient times. Even in Africa, that is the culture. If this person divorces you, or he tells you, you know what, I don't need you, just go back to your, in fact, in African homes, they don't tell you, I will divorce you. They tell you, go back to your home, right? So what you will do in an African setting, you will go back to your parents and you'll say, this man kicked me out of the house. And they will call the two families and they will decide. And what will happen, you will stay in your father's house. If you're going to be remarried, well and good. But you'll not leave your husband and go to another husband just like that. You have to go back to your house, to your father's house. And then from there, you can be remarried if you want to be remarried. So what Hagar will do, she will go back to Egypt. So the Ishmaelites lived along that place, and probably she got married to another person and bore other children, right? So we will not look for Ishmael in a distant place. He's just around that region, and he knew where he came from. He was 13 years old. He was grown up. He knows where his dad is, right? So he will not leave the continent. There are spices here. You have the good trees. You have the cedar trees. You have the frankincense and all this. Why would you leave Africa? You stay in your home, right? So that's the best thing you can do. So now we've set a standard of who is an Arab. Okay, another verse I would like you to search at your own time. If I get the verse, I will let you know. Cities of Judah. These are cities in Judea. Goshen, Holon, and Gilo. 11 cities along with their villages. Another city is called Arab, Duma, Esha, Janim, Beth Tapua. Tapua is in South Africa. Just type TAPPUA. It's still in South Africa. So let us put our Judea there, because this is Africa. We have seen east of the garden, and this must be our promised land. So let us divide it: Southern Kingdom, Northern Kingdom, and the lands of the other people, right? So in Judea itself, there is a place called Arab. There is a place called Duma. There is a place called Afika, right? So those are the cities of Judah. You can go and just find out. I will get the scripture for you. All right? Tapua, you can find it. I found it some months ago. All right? So that is the Arabia in Judah. So it's a wilderness, could be a wilderness or a desert kind of place, all right? So an Arab, a desert person, a person who lives in the wilderness, all right? Desert, all right? That is the ancient meaning of that. Don't be confused. A modern Arab, what they have told you is the Arab, is not the ancient Arab described in the scriptures. Don't be confused. An ancient Arab is not a modern Arab. A modern Arab can be an Arab because he lives in a desert, yes, according to the definition, but he's not the one being described in the scriptures. So you must have that, put it in brackets, all right? 2 Chronicles 17:11, only one verse I will read because of time. Some of the Philistines brought Jehoshaphat presents and silver for tribute, and the Arabians also brought him 7,700 rams and 7,700 goats. So they are pastoralists, right? So now we know that even the Philistines lived near us, and they are bringing to this king, Jehoshaphat, presents of silver and the Arabians. So the Arabs, the Arabians of that time, they are different people, all right? So where did the Philistines live? The Philistines left their original home and they came south near the children of the Most High. They came to live in a place called Gaza. You will find Gaza in Mozambique. There was a kingdom called Gaza. There is a province still called Gaza to this day. You remember David fighting with Goliath, and you remember Delilah and Samson and such kind of things. They were not very far, but they had left their original homeland. because these Philistines were related to the Egyptians. So they might have come from Egypt as well. That's why there is a verse when you read, it tells you that, am I not, I'm the Most High, are you not to me like the Kushites? Haven't I, I'm just paraphrasing, haven't I saved the Philistines from Kafta and brought the Arameans from Kir, all right? Incense, or let me say the myrrh tree, is also called Kafta. The myrrh plant is called Kafta by Ethiopians. And when you go to Ethiopia, you'll find a place called Kafta, K-A-F-T-A, but they wrote in your Bible, Kaftor, because that is a Greek Roman translation. So these Philistines might have come from this region. You know, east of the garden is where we're going to concentrate on. East of the garden, this is where most people lived. They got their civilization, and this is where they dependent on before maybe moving from the other lands. So these Philistines are migrating from Kafta. They are being saved by the Most High. Maybe somebody was doing some things to them, and they go down to Gaza, all right? So later we will find out this. We will find out about this. Let me read for you. How your history was stolen and the Indian Ocean coast replaced with the Mediterranean coast. So Gaza is on the Indian coast down there in Mozambique, but they put Gaza on the Mediterranean Sea. So all the cities that were on the east coast of Africa were taken to the Mediterranean so that you'll never find your history. So be it Tyre, be it Sidon, be it Phoenicia, be it this Gaza of the Philistines, be it Lebanon, they were all taken from the East African coast and taken to the Mediterranean so that you never ever find your history, all right? So that is how we know that these Philistines might have come from the east of the garden and gone to Gaza. Gaza is a very big place. It was a very, very big, massive land. You imagine people who are like giants. They cannot survive in a desert. They must have plenty of land and plenty of food as well, all right? So we've seen about the Araba, 2 Chronicles 21:16, and the Most High stirred up against Jehoram the anger of the Philistines and of the Arabians who are near the Kushites. All right, so the original home of the Philistines is near the Kushites. And there are people who are living near the people of Kush who are also Arabs because they are just nomads, all right? So we know where Kush is. Kush has not migrated. We know where Egypt is, we know where Kush is, and recently we found out where Puntland is. So, and you know where Libya is. So don't say you'll be lost, you'll not be lost, right? So the Philistines came from Kafta and they went to Gaza in Mozambique. And the Arameans came from, they were taken from Kir. Kir is a river in the Sudan. How do you know that? You'll find it. Secondly, how do you know that Kir is a name familiar with the continent? The former president of South Sudan was called Salva Kiir. That is a name of the continent. Kafta is a name of the continent. That's how they call the myrrh trees, Kafta, right? So am I saying people didn't leave Africa? No. Out of Africa, experience happened. People were merchants, they went to other lands for adventure, but not all people moved. And that does not mean that their original home changed, all right? That was their original home, east of the garden. That's where they were put. They might have left the continent, but those lands they went to does not make them forget the original land or does not disconnect them in any way, all right? So now you know who is an Araba. Anyone, if California is a desert, those people living there are Arabas. From today, just know that they are Arabas. They are living in a, but also it depends with their lifestyle. Maybe they maybe live in an arid area, but they are not behaving like such people, right? Now, Midian, Isaiah 66 and 7. This is like an end time prophecy. Caravans of camels shall cover you. Caravans of camels shall cover you. Dromedaries of Midian and Ephah, all from Sheba shall come bearing gold and frankincense. So these people are not coming from Iraq. These people are coming from Mocha, Mocha, Horn of Africa, East Africa, where you find frankincense. And there was gold as well during those days. So now we know the Midianites, where Moses escaped after killing the Egyptians, where Moses passed through, going to the promised land is just in East Africa. The Midianites and the Ishmaelites must have lived together, and they must have lived near Egypt, right? There is a place where it explains to you that the Ishmaelites live from the desert of Shur. As you go towards Egypt, that kind of thing, you will get that verse for yourselves. So in the end times, these caravans of camels shall come, dromedaries. A dromedary is a camel with one hump, and it's indigenous and native to East Africa. So when these scientists tell you this, just mark it in your mind, right? So dromedaries of Midian. So Midianites have the dromedaries, and Ephah. Ephah is also a descendant in that lineage, all from Sheba. Sheba can be a Midianite, can be a Kushite, shall come bearing gold and frankincense. There is no gold in Saudi Arabia. So Midianites are not living in Saudi Arabia. Jethro was not there. So the land must have frankincense and gold, because that is what they shall bring with their camels. And they will come with praises. They will come with flocks from Kedar. Kedar is a son of Ishmael. There is a place in Ethiopia called Kedar in the Amhara region. So ask people from Ethiopia what Kedar means. They shall be gathered for you. The rams of Nabaioth will be acceptable offerings on my altar. So these people, when you come back to the land, they will not say, oh, these people are enemies. No, no, no. They will be very glad. They will come and give you gifts. They will give you everything they have, all right? Because they fear the Most High. They will know that, oh, the children of the Most High are back. They will put gold and frankincense and all that they have, all their merchandise, and bring it to you, all right? So we have seen that Midianites have camels. They are together with the children of Cush, and they live in a land that is rich in gold and frankincense. So now we know we are in Mocha, East Africa, all right? So the brothers of Midian were Zimran, Jokshan, Medan, Ishbak, and Shua. You will see that in your scriptures. Sons of Cush were Nimrod, Seba, Rama, Sapta, Sabteka, Havila. When you see the old maps, you will see in sub-Saharan Africa, you see the names of these people. It doesn't mean that sub-Saharan Africa is the land of Cush. No, they were merchants. They used to come in sub-Saharan Africa to trade, all right? That's how they brought the camels down in the south. And Father Abraham also from Egypt, he was given camels and the other things, all right? Sons of Rama are Sheba and Dedan. Dedan and Sheba are grandchildren of Cush. Sheba and Dedan, all right? And you will see there are scriptures talking about Dedan. Dedan is a merchant. So we will find out who sold us, like who gave way for these people to come, enter the continent, or come to our coastline. These people are merchants. They are Arabs. They are moving from one place to another. They don't have a permanent dwelling, but they are coming from the east. Of course, they will go back. But it's very possible that they came in the south, occupied the south, some places when we are rotating. You remember what they said about the Bantu migration? So when we came back from our captivities, we find these people in the land. They are called, the historians call them Southern Kushitic people. They lump all of them together, Southern Kushitic. So we fight again to get access to the land. So these are the people we found in the land. When the Bantus are coming from Egypt and wherever they are coming from, which people did we find in the land? We found the Kushites in the land. There were some other tribes we can call hunters and gatherers in the land. These are the people we fought with, and their people we found they could be Amorites. Why am I saying this? Chemos was a god of the Amorites. There is a tribe that to date names their children Chemos. They could have blood of the Amorites. I don't know. All right. So the Kushites are majority of the people. These people of Sheba and Dedan are the people we found in the land, and we started fighting with them. But it's possible that they kept on staying on the coasts because they were merchants. And then we took the land inland in the center, in the interior. We settled there and started farming. So when the Nilotics are running away from the war in Egypt, the Persians are coming. The Nilotic tribes, some of the Nilotic tribes might even be from Libya. Those people they call Nilo-Saharan, and you know, Nilot is a very broad word. You cannot tell. It's a mix of many people. So when the Bantus and the Nilotics people are running from the war, when they come to the land, we find the Kushites in the land and the hunters and gatherers. All right. Now you know that the Kushites were in the land. All Africa, they were roaming, you know, they were free citizens. So now we know about this Sheba and the rest. And then now we shall look at Dedan. Dedan is also a merchant. I'll just read really quick. Ezekiel 27:15. This one Dada shared with me. You know, Dada is very, very, very spiritual. Ezekiel 27:15. The men of Dedan were thy merchants. Many isles were the merchandise of thine hand. They brought thee for a present horns of ivory and ebony. So we know now who was buying ebony from the south, all right? We will look at the ebony. It's a tree that is native to Africa, and we still use it for the purposes that are written in the scriptures, all right? So Dedan is a grandchild of Cush, don't forget. Ezekiel 27:16, we have coral. Some cities and islands on the Indian coast, like the Kilwa Island, I don't know about Zanzibar, but some of them can be 1,000+ years old, but they were built by coral. Coral is something that you find at the bottom of the sea. It's a kind of a rock, but it's not a strong rock. It's a soft rock. We call them coral reefs. They are very common on the Indian Ocean coast. So when you see this coral, who build houses using coral? The Bantu people, all right? precious stones and linen, so it's being talked about. So Syria was thy merchant. Syria is the guy, they changed his name. He's Aram, they changed his name to Syria so that they can take the Arameans to the other place. So he was thy merchant by reason of multitude of the wares of thy making. They occupied in their affairs with emeralds, purple and broidered work, fine linen, coral, and agate. Is it agate or agate? I think it's a precious stone, kind of. Then Ezekiel 27:17, Judah and the land of Isolele, they were their merchants. They traded in their market wheat and the other things. All right. So in Ezekiel 27:20, you see Dedan is a merchant of precious clothes and chariots. And we will find out that Solomon bought chariots and horses from Egypt. All right. So horses have also been ancient animals in especially Kush in Sudan. Even when the Persians came, the Assyrians, there were horses there. If up to date, you'll find horses in native to Sudan. So if somebody tells you there are no horses in Africa, no, there were native horses in Africa, all right? So with that, I will close so that I can go to the just briefly, the Solomon's imports, and we will close, all right? So there is something else I want to make clear. So today is just a foundation, right? There's some other things I want to make clear, like Swahili. There are people who are saying, no, the Swahilis, they are not the people. These Swahilis are just Arabs, these Swahilis. So I will explain about Swahili, and you'll understand where the word Swahili came from and came about, and about the language as well, just briefly. So Swahili was not called Swahili initially. Swahili comes from the word Swahel, which is a word that was given by the Arabs to mean people of the coast. So they just described them, people of the coast, but that is not their name. It's just a nickname. The Swahili people who spoke the language we call Swahili were merchants, and they traveled wide and far. And you can find their pottery in Oman, you can find their pottery in those regions because they went and lived there actually. So Swahili people were a group of people among the Wangozi, the Ngozi tribe. So they were initially called Wangozi. And Mama Brenda shared this with me another time previously. So how come then people say Swahili has Arabic in it? Remember, when people come to trade in your land, they don't teach you their language. They are the ones to learn your language. So when the traders came, whether they were Persians, whether they were from Arabia, the modern Arabia, they had to learn our language. But because the Swahilis were merchants, they had to learn the language of the merchants. It is the same case here. When you come here and you're working in the business industry, business sector, you have to learn about a few words in Arabic, greetings, numbers, very, very important because you're coming to do business. So when the Persians and these people came, they learned this Wangozi language, although they call them Swahili. They learned their language. That's why in the east coast of Africa, you'll never find an African speaking Arabic. They don't know that language. Because those people came here, they want to trade with us, they learned our language. Swahili is 100% Bantu language in phonetics and in grammar and in the structure. So how come there is some Arabic words in Swahili? So these people, after learning our language of trade, they went back to their lands, trading and doing merchandise. And there were some Bantu people who migrated to Arabia, a few, like places like in Oman and Yemen, and they were trading. So they learned the language from them. So what happened, after they learned the language, they had to put it in a dictionary. So they made a dictionary so that they can be able to, when they come, they can be able to learn the language and know how to speak and be able to trade with us. So when they made the dictionary, they used the Arabic alphabet and the rest. That language still was spoken, even up to date in Oman. There are people who speak fluent Swahili. But the words they didn't understand much better, they fixed Arabic words and the like. So that is how the language got mixed up. But Wangozi people are Bantu people. The language is, the phonetics and the structure of the language is Bantu, and it's Bantu in origin. So don't get mixed up, all right? So I think our time is up. Our time is up.
Dada, were you at a stopping point or?
So you want us to stop and do part 2?
We can do part 2 next week.
All right, all right. So can I have 5 minutes?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
All right, all right. Okay, so we've set a foundation: who is an Araba, who is a Midianite, who is an Ishmaelite, where they live. Now no confusion, isn't it? So the Most High, when I was researching about the Phoenicians, the Most High told me, through the Mwandan Sem, he told me, look at the alphabet. Look at the alphabet. So I'll share something briefly about the alphabet. And you will know that the alphabet you use today is an African alphabet. Just know that it's not from Greece, it's not from the Romans. The alphabet you use today is an African alphabet. People said this long time, many years ago, but I didn't pay attention. I couldn't understand. But now I understand, all right? So, look at this. Can you see? So we looked at this last time about how Punt, the language of Punt, became Punic. Instead of Puntic, they call it Punic. Punic. There was a city there, next time we will check on the maps, that was called Poen. So they named, these merchants came from that place, and they were near the Zidonians and these people of Tyre. And so they took their alphabet. I told you when they come, they are merchants, they learn our language. So when they came, they had to learn our alphabet, our way of writing, so that they can go and do what? Business. So you have to be keen also when it comes to linguistics. You have to be very keen. So they took the Phoenicians from the East African coast and took them to the Mediterranean Sea. So Punic is from Puntic, from Punt, all right? The other day I saw somewhere a Somali person saying, you know, we even know the meaning of Moses. They know the meaning of the word Moses. Why? Because their language is related to the Egyptian language. They say Moses means Maza, a person who dives in the water. That's what it means in their own language. Why? Because Moses was named after an Egyptian name. He was called an Egyptian name. So the Somali people are ancient people who are related to the Egyptians. You can look at them, their physical appearance. It's just 100%. Look at their clothing. They used to wear white. Before they converted to religion, they used to wear white clothes, just like you see in the walls. Look at the way they make the hair, the decorations they put. There is a stick that is there in the walls in Egypt. They use the stick up to date. I don't know what is the use of the stick. So Punic became Punic and they changed. They changed. So the sea people are actually the ancient Somalis who used to do business on the Red Sea and the Indian Ocean, part of that coastline, all right? Then we talked about Lebanon. I told you Lebanon is not that Lebanon. Lebanon is between Somalia, Ethiopia, Eritrea, those places. So I'll just read something small. The real Lebanon, the cedars, the juniper, East African cedar, from Ethiopia to Somalia to Kenya to Zimbabwe to the Cape. That's where you find the cedar. And there is somewhere place in your Bible that says when King Solomon got a lot of cedars, they even started growing. I think maybe the seeds used to drop. So they started growing and they became many in the south, in Judea, just like the sycamore tree, all right? So on the highest peaks in central Golis, there is still a remnant of ancient cedar forest, the cedar of Lebanon. This is an article. They are saying on this place called Golis, G-O-L-I-S, their forest. The best standing forest of this type is the one at the Alo Mountains, D-A-A-L-O, near the town of Erigabo. Erigabo, E-R-I-G-A-B. Just Google that town. There is a forest there. And it is a reserve now. So it is being protected to hide the evidence. The cedar tree itself is known as Daib. So it is in the Alo Plateau of Somalia. The cedars, that forest has a lot of ancient cedars. A tree is 1,000 years old. And at the same time, in that forest, there are also myrrh and frankincense. So the thing is this, a natural forest has got different kind of fauna. A planted forest, you'll find one kind of a tree, but an ancient forest has got all kind of trees. So the cedar of Lebanon, the cedar was not the only tree growing in those mountains of Lebanon. The ancient Lebanon of the scriptures, there are other trees growing there, and those trees are like the myrrh and the frankincense. All right, so they were not the old. So in that Lebanon, they show you, if they're only cedar trees, it doesn't make sense, because an ancient forest, an indigenous forest with ancient kind of vegetation will have different kinds of trees. So sometimes, because ubani in Swahili means incense, I think Lebanon could mean a forest or a mountain of incense. I don't know. Maybe it was a place where the incense and the frankincense came from, but there were the cedar trees as well in that region. Yeah, somebody saying the Phoenicians were, okay, they told us that the Phoenicians were Canaanites. They changed the name, so we are not very sure whether they were Canaanites or something of the sort, but we will find out. But remember, these Phoenicians were with other people, like the Zidonians who were Canaanites and the people of Tyre. So as I told you, this Indian coast, all the people lived together and did merchandise together, despite your background, where you came from, your tribe and genealogy. So you saw last time when we said about Azania, it's a name applied to various parts of southeastern tropical Africa. In the Roman period, and perhaps earlier, the toponym referred to a portion of the Southeast Africa. So they are describing Azania, extending from northern Kenya to the border between Mozambique and South Africa. So that was Zangweba, the ports of Zion. That's where Solomon did his ships went through to go to Phoenicia, to come to Tarshish and Ophir. Ophir could be Sofala. There is a port there called Sofala, Sofala, could be. All right. So Azania from northern Kenya coming to the Cape. Azania was mostly inhabited by southern Kushite people whose groups would rule the area until the Great Bantu migration. So they took all this place and they stayed here and they were merchants and they traded. It doesn't mean that during Bantu migration, there were no Bantus who were in the land. There were. These other migrating and people coming from other areas, all right? So their history itself says that they are the people who own we had a coastline, but these Cushitic people and these maybe Canaanite people and these Phoenicians just used all that coastline. So now you know where your alphabet came from. Your alphabet is an African language, probably related to an Egyptian language. So the Most High told me, just look at that alphabet. Don't be deceived by anybody. Yeah, I think I will end there. We had much, but we will complete next time. Dada, you wanted to say something about the ebony? You wanted to say something? Yeah. Ebony.
Yes, you didn't bring it up. Are you going to bring it up in the next teaching? Did you bring it up?
All right.
She did mention.
Okay, she did mention
the trading during the time of the trading.
Okay.
Yes.
This is from the ebony tree that she had mentioned. As you can see, it's naturally the bark of it. This is the natural color of it. So when they say ebony and ivory, they're talking about over in our area, because this here is from Tanzania. And we also have a lion that was carved out of this very same tree here. Our son, he wanted the lion, and it's very heavy, solid. This here, the Maasai uses here, we were told, as it's a weapon, and they kill lions with it. The lions fear the Maasai tribe. They will not bother the Maasai tribe. So they know the Maasai tribe. So this is very heavy and solid, ebony.
Yeah, so that is a native tree to Africa, the ebony. It's the most expensive wood in Africa. And King Solomon used the ebony to build the pillars of the temple. And ebony was used to make instruments. And to date, the ebony is used to make instruments in West Africa. And it's used for carving. They make wood carvings and other things out of it.
Yes.
In Mozambique, in Tanzania. So when they put it in your Google, they will tell you there was ebony coming from India, but the African ebony is the finest. That's what they tell you. Yeah, the nativity and the origin of ebony is sub-Saharan Africa. And we have always used it for those purposes. All right, native to the rainforest of West Africa, native to savannas of Western, Eastern, and Southern Africa. The ebony is found in East African states of Mozambique and Tanzania. We have approximately 60,000 to 80,000 wood carvers who make a living by carving wood from the ebony tree, also known as blackwood or mpingo. We call it mpingo in Bantu. I will show you next time. I'll write the spellings for you. It takes 60 to 200 years to mature. So the ebony is here, we the people, and this is the land. Where you find ebony, we're using steel to make the instruments. Maybe the instruments of the temple were made using this kind of wood. So now we've set a foundation, you know your land is where it is. Where you left it, it didn't migrate, still there, still there. So next time we will talk more about that.
You see this here? That's the inside of it. That's where they get it from. It is naturally black.
Yes.
That tree, we saw it, like she said, it's in one of the areas is Mozambique and Tanzania. And we did see the tree and we saw the bark ourselves. And it's this color, it's black.
Yes.
All righty.
Beautiful. Yeah. So next time we will talk more about the ruins that have been left in the east coast of Africa that prove to us the Romans were here. We will look at an ancient city that sank, a whole city. Remember in the prophecies, Tyre and Sidon, their ports were going to be destroyed by the Most High. So I think that's why we have these ruins in the east coast of Africa and these cities that disappeared. Mm-hmm. And the Most High loves us so much. He's hiding so much information from these Gentiles. They cannot figure it out, you see? So when you look at the Phoenician alphabet is what the Arabic and Persian merchants copied, is what the Greeks copied, then the Romans copied, then the Ionians copied, then it went on and on. So just know that the Phoenician, the Punic alphabet is an African alphabet that was taken from the coast of Africa, from the sea people, the merchants, the people who were the first people to sail, all right? So this is how we write the numbers in Arabic. This is how we write in Arabic. 100% Phoenician, Punic. And if you ask them clearly, they can tell you that this Phoenician alphabet is related to the Egyptian writing as well, because they couldn't write the Egyptian kind of writing. So this was used by the merchants. So next time I will tell you how the people came from other lands as merchants and they were replaced in Samaria and they became the people and they converted in Judaism and they stole your history through merchants. This is what they did, all right? So they come to the east coast of Africa, they come to Mocha, they take coffee, they take frankincense, they take incense, they take to their lands. And then the other people here, there are people who are very rich in those places. So they come here, they learn the language, they learn the writing. After that, they take all the trade, and then after that, they enslave you. So that is actually what happened. So this is the alphabet you use today, my sisters and brothers, mark my words, is an African alphabet. I was told many years ago, I was very young, but I couldn't capture. This is whatever they write in Arabic. And how did I know this when the Most High told me, check the Arabic alphabet? You know how I knew? Because Phoenicians wrote from right to left, and that is how you write. Next time I will write for you these numbers, because these numbers I always write in Arabic. When I check the expiry dates of items, there are other items that are not written in English. They are written in Arabic and the expiry date is written in Arabic. So these numbers you have to know in your head how to write and how to see them. You get it? So when I saw that, that language was written from right to left, I said, okay, that's why the Most High is telling me, look at the Arabic alphabet. From here, the Greek got their alphabet. From here, the Romans took it. They gave, I don't know, the Ionians. They gave, I don't know who and who and who gave who. You see? But taken from where? The land of Africa. So don't say this is a Kushite, I don't want to know about them, these are this. No, you'll never know your history because our history, they hid. We are getting to know our history from looking at the other people who live in Africa, who maybe did not go to slavery, who are still there, who still have their roots, and the evidence is there. All right? So now you know, Punic is Punic. All right? I don't think the Canaanites had too much power back in the days. Probably they got their knowledge by relying on the Egyptians and maybe these people of Punt. Because you see the ports of Punt are just next to the ports of these Zidonians and the rest on the east coast of Africa. So once you understand the history of what happened in the east coast of Africa, you will understand that what happened. And next time we will look and find out if Elijah came to this part of east coast of Africa where he was fed by a widow. If he came to these places of Phoenicia or the Messiah, we will look at it, all right? So just know that the Punic they tell you is Punic. Phoenicia is Punic, all right? They write this sometimes. They do write like this. When you just check your Google, they don't hide. They say put Phoenician, then they say Phoenike, Greek translation. So Phoenike is Greek translation of put. Straightforward. Okay. We will see the other things next time. We will not finish you. If we start. All right. So they stole, they took a lot of stuff. So next time we will see about, still we are on trade. So we will finish, but I will give you homework to do. So these are native animals and trees native to Africa, and they are in the scripture. So go and read about them so that you don't have to doubt, this is my land, this is not the promised land. You don't have to doubt, all right? I don't know if you can see. Ostriches, all right? They are native to Africa. They are in the scriptures. They are in the book of Lamentations. Joseph was being, Job. You remember Job who was sick, was being told some things about the ostrich. Ostriches, myrrh and frankincense, the origin is Africa. The rhinoceros, the hippopotamus, the panthers, all right? The spices, they lied to you and told you, no, the so-and-so was looking for sea route to India to look for spices. No, I don't know Vasco da Gama. No, it's a lie. There were spices in Africa.
Yes.
In their own Google, they say the goods that were traded in Africa, gold, ivory, spices. There were spices. Even when you go to the Horn of Africa, there are so many spices in those forests, we say. They're in Lebanon, all right? So lions, apes don't live in those lands above the Sahara and the kind of that. They will tell you that. Ebony, all right? These are things that are native to Africa. They might be in other places, some might be in other places, like the elephants, but they were never used in history for ivory. Remember, the elephants in China and the elephants in India were never hunted for ivory, all right? Only the African elephant, all right? So next time, this is your homework.
All right. Thank you so much, Dada.
Karibu
You're
sana.
most welcome. Karibu sana.
Asante Matondo. You know, we can speak the whole day.
Yes,
Next
we go
time.
back and forth.
Next time.
Family, put your hand up in the chat if you have questions, and we'll take a few from there. So just put your hand up if you have a question. I want to share something here. You all see my screen, right? Here, the scripture here. I quote this a lot. This is from Luke, and it's also in Matthew. For nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad. And what we see happening, family, is just that. We see that there's been a lot of lies told, a lot of manipulation with history, especially when it comes to the Saharan desert, the lower part, what they call sub. I don't like saying sub because it's very negative. They did that for a reason. But the lower part of the Saharan desert, which is where the bulk of us came from, where we came from, most of us that they took for in the not only the transatlantic slave trade, but also the Arabic slave trade. When you begin to look at both of the slave trades, the Arabic and also the transatlantic, you will begin to see a thing, a very common thing. And you have to ask yourself, why am I seeing this common thing? The same people, majority of them that the Arabics took were Bantus. You can find them over in India. They even took them to China, Iran, Iraq. And these people are waking up because they did not know their history, because the Arabic or slave trade started way before the transatlantic slave trade. So it lasted longer. And then when you begin to research and look at the transatlantic slave trade, you see that the bulk of the people were Bantu. So you have to ask yourself why from both sides, the East and the West, are coming and enslaving common people. Common people. She gave you a clue to one. Our ancestors were merchants. And I was reading up on that, and maybe I can bring that out. They had large territories, and we went all over, our ancestors did. And they wanted these trade routes. She mentioned this, I think it was on the second teaching. I think she mentioned, maybe it was the first that she brought out, how they wanted our trade routes. It talks about in the Bible, the Isles, how they, went to the Isles. When you go to Zanzibar, you'll see so many islands over there. She talked, which is in the east of Africa. She talked about the spices. Well, when you go to Zanzibar, you see so many spices, all kinds of spices that I showed you all that I brought back from Africa. And that was when we went to Zanzibar. So we went and visited, and it's an island. We had to go there via boat. And we passed Snake Island. You have Pemba Island. We went Prison Island. They have the Isles over there. So many Isles. It's important that we go back, go and visit that area if you can, so you can see things. The Bible will open up. Things will make more sense to you. And then you will even see lies that they've told. Granted, we understand that they put some of our history in what we call the Bible, Biblio, which is nothing more than papyrus. That's why it's called Bible. And they wrote our culture down. Some of those things in there, they twisted up. And we have to be mindful of that. We have to have an open mind, and you have to have the Spirit of the Most High to help you to decipher and read through these lies, because I'm telling you, the Spirit will reveal to you what's truth and what's not, for He is the Spirit of truth, and He will reveal those truths to you and those that are not. Remember this. Don't forget this. For nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad. Because we're living in an era, like I said, right now, so much information is coming out about our history, from spirituality, some things that people are having difficulty facing. And a lot of it is right, they wrote down in the Bible. So I'm thankful for the Bible, because it has clues in there to tell us, as she used And I use too, and other people as well, to show who the people are. What is the promised land? What's not the promised land, etc., etc. You know, the Bible said that the land that he gave to our ancestors are flowing with milk and honey. He said, I'll give you a land flowing with milk and honey. And I asked somebody, what is that I was talking to that's still in Christianity? I said, I said, land does not flow with milk or honey. So what is that? I said, that's an idiom. And that idiom simply means riches, resources. I said, now what area is it that is overflowing with minerals, with resources? It's the area where they took the bulk of the people into the slave trade, the Arabic slave trade and the transatlantic slave trade, what they call sub-Sahara. That's why it is so destabilized in that area. In the northern part of Africa, you'll see that it's not. But when you go to the land flowing with milk and honey, it's destabilized because they want to continue to have those areas of trade in their hand, where there's the gold, the cobalt, the iron, the oil. All of these resources you will see is in that land, and they want to control it still. And I was telling my son, that's our land. It's our resources that was given to us. And they're stealing these resources, and they're telling the world over, showing pictures, lying, saying that our people over there are poor. Why are they poor? Tell the truth and shame the devil. All those resources, all those diamonds that's sitting on the head of who they call the Queen of England that she got from Africa. All the gold that they have stored in their rooms, they got from Africa. All their riches, all the artifacts practically in their museums, they got from Africa. And we will make, and they shall make merchandise of you. Do y'all see how the Bible come to life when you know the truth and you know history? Merchandise mean they're gonna make money off of you, from you. And they're still doing it to this day. Because if every last one of us left, I guarantee you, wherever we are, whether it's in France, America, the Caribbean is primarily Black, but in the Indo-European areas, it will fall. People, they are standing on our backs. Everything that they have taken to become who they are, it came from us, from our land. And they even used us as merchandise to make them the so-called powerhouse of the world. It is us that they use. It is our land that they use. It is our ancestors that they came and stole and enslaved to build up what they call the new world that wasn't new at all, that was already inhabited. We just had, they had the holiday Thanksgiving. And I told my mother, I said, I will not honor a day where a people recognize it as a day of Thanksgiving to thank their God, and you can research it, for slaughtering people and stealing their land. I said, when the very Bible that they esteem and hold up says, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not kill. I said, I will not honor that day because it's wrong. I said, wrong is wrong. I said, and I will not honor that day because of the blood that was shed. I will not give thanks with them to their God for killing these people. I have a niece and a nephew that are part Native American. So they did this to their people. Slaughtered them. My sister-in-law, their mother, she's Apache. She told me some years ago, when they came here, they did the same thing that they did to our ancestors. She told me they raped our mothers. That's why you see that they so light-skinned now. Those people were copper color when you look at the history books. Copper. Look at a penny. It's copper. What is that? Brown. She said they raped our mothers. They placed us in cages. horrible things. And they want to rewrite. We're in the process now. They're trying to rewrite history again, family, to take out all the horrible deeds that they've done, because it's smack dab in their face. Now, even their own people are talking about what they did. I was listening to that man, I forgot that news group, him and a lady be on. It was in our group. I've heard it before. And he was talking about what they did. He said, I dare you talk about African Americans in a negative light like that, saying they're barbaric. When you enslaved their people, you raped their women, you maimed them, you hung them, and you took their skins and made memorabilia from it. And you want to call them barbaric? See, their dirt is coming and it's smacking them in the face, and they don't want to see it. But the time has come. Reckoning is coming. The Bible says that the Most High is not deceived. Whatsoever a man sow, he shall reap. I told my son that's nothing more than what the world calls karma. Karma is coming around. The evil that you planted, the evil that you did, is coming around, and you got to reap what you sowed. Remember that you reap, that's a principle. You reap what you sow. We have to keep an open mind. They've lied to us. They took our culture away from us. Our spirituality, they painted it with a different picture in the book. But the Most High is going to right every wrong. And he's going to expose all the lies, all the evil deeds. They can't run from it. None of us can run from the wrong that we've done, regardless of whatever color you are. But their time has come, and it's come to an end. And as they say in their words, karma is coming to bite them. I don't see any hands up. I asked if anybody have any questions to put their hand up so that we can go in order and in that fashion. So I want to thank my sister, Dada, Tabitha, for the information that she's presented to us. We're all learning, as she said. She sends me stuff, I send her stuff, different people send me stuff, because it's not only her, but I think Dada sent me more than anybody. We're learning, or relearning, should I say. We're relearning history. So keep an open mind, pray and fast, and ask the Most High to expose the lies and reveal the truth. And get to Facebook, YouTube, social media. I hope this have been some information that is beneficial to you. Keep an open mind. Stay prayed up, fast, so that the Most High can reveal these things to you. And get to